Ah, Batwoman, the show that so many of you and people on the internet in general like to complain about. But somebody's watching this show. It just got a second season, even after losing its star. And the Arrowverse overall is still doing quite well, very well. They just added a new show to their lineup. And yes, as I just pointed out, something that is different about Batwoman this season is that we have a new woman under the cowl, Javicia Leslie's Ryan Wilder. But otherwise, it still is a CW/DC show. So I'm just accepting that in my review. Although I have a complaint in a moment. I can't help myself as a Batman fan. Now, the CW, just to give you some perspective, gave out the first 2 episodes to press. And I actually, overall, really enjoyed them, largely because of Javicia Leslie. Now, yes, as I said, I was a little frustrated as a hardcore Batman fan watching the character and his universe get CW'd. Like, the Batmobile is just a regular car. I mean, it had a few tricks and bells and whistles, but I was like, that's just a car. It doesn't even look like a bat motif at all. That really annoyed me. And I did not like the actor they picked for Bruce Wayne. At all. I did not like him. I was like, that's not Bruce Wayne. In addition to that not being Bruce Wayne in the story, but that's not even, I think, Bruce Wayne at all. But still, it is thrilling to see any member of the Bat family in action, especially when they zip line up into the skyline. It never gets old. I liked watching that. And especially on the low budget of the show, that's something they were able to execute very well. And Leslie, by the way, looks much better in the suit in live action than she has in the promotional materials for season 2. In fact, she looks so good in the suit as is, I don't know if they should have changed it as radically as they're planning to, as we've seen, also from the promotional material, although maybe that will also look better. I think that the new costume, though, doesn't reflect Leslie's Ryan Wilder, at least in the first 2 episodes either. I think it's going too far in the other direction. And Leslie also, by the way, has a softer look than Ruby Rose. So red doesn't quite suit her, from the suit to even the makeup. So, when she has lighter makeup on, she's just stunning. So I think she's gorgeous all the time, but she just looks her best when she has lighter coloring, in her clothes and her makeup. So I would have gone with light purple as a new color choice instead of red, and kept the rest of the suit largely the same, because she looked very good in it. The CW-ness aside, watching Ryan Wilder become the new Batwoman in the first 2 episodes feels very much like when any new member joins the Bat family in the comics. So in that regard, it felt familiar and fun. Now, when I read a comic book or watch a TV show, I like to have a good meal. And what do you know? HelloFresh still has that amazing offer for you to kick off 2021 with food that's both healthy and delicious. Just go to HelloFresh.com/BTT10, link down below, and use code BTT10 to get 10 free meals across your first few boxes, first few weeks of food, plus free shipping on that first box. It's very hard to go out during the pandemic, even to the grocery store. So why not have your food delivered right to you in the exact amount that you need to make these delicious meals? And you can choose for how many people, how many times a week, and what kind of meals you're interested in. HelloFresh also has lightning prep. I like that term. Those meals are quick and easy to make. So you can, at the bottom, when you're selecting your meals that you want them to send to you, they have different categories. And sometimes it's in 2 categories. Like a meal can be lightning prep and also carb smart. But one meal that's lightning prep is fully loaded pork taquitos, which are very tasty. So again, just go to HelloFresh.com/BTT10 and use code BTT10 to get those 10 free meals and free shipping on your first box. Now back to Leslie. Her Ryan Wilder has a down-to-earth, approachable quality and warmth that make her very much a yin to Ruby Rose's yang. I don't want to talk about what happened to Kate Kane. That's a secret. You got to tune in. But I think they make that compelling as well. But Leslie's Ryan Wilder is given some very corny, difficult lines to say in the first 2 episodes. I'm like, you don't need to narrate this for us. I can see that what's happening is crazy. But I think that Leslie still managed to pull the lines off. But they made it difficult for her. And again, as I said, she looks absolutely stunning. I also like her backstory. Now, I think some fans will be divided, fans and media, to be honest with you, on if they, I hope, we'll see. Javicia Leslie deserves to make a splash, but I don't think a lot of people are following the show very much, which is unfortunate. But anyway, because, again, it has fans. I think it deserves respect for not only what they're doing on it, but for the people who enjoy it. But anyway, you have a black lead character here who represents the problems facing a large portion of the black community in America. And is that a good thing, or is it a stereotypical thing? And Ryan Wilder, by the way, represents quite a few of the problems that are plaguing many members of the black community in both her backstory and her current situation. Some people might even feel like it's one too many problems, that it becomes like cliche and a little offensive. I felt it was right on the line of that. But I thought that Javicia Leslie made it seem so grounded and so real. And I felt, hold on, let me explain it to you, okay? Because I felt that they did good stuff with it. Also, side note, Ryan has a scene where she meets with, I believe, her parole officer in a room that looks almost exactly like the one from Joker, where Arthur was also feeling that the system was against him and he couldn't beat it unless he went outside of it. Also, I think Ryan's backstory and current situation add another layer of meaning to the show. I don't want to give away how, but I think it's very clear, even in these first 2 episodes, of how that adds a new and I think welcome dimension. And so that's a new layer of meaning in addition to the LGBT representation from season 1, which is still there, which we'll talk about in a moment. Now, also, though, in episode 2, I will say that Ryan Wilder says she makes a case for herself, saying that her background allows her to be a crime fighter who will better understand where the criminals she's going after are coming from. And I think that's a really interesting idea, as almost every member of the Bat family really has no actual experiences with the communities that they patrol. It reminds me of that great Saturday Night Live sketch, which I've brought up before because I love it so much, where people give a different perspective of how Batman handles, some of the more petty crime that he polices. And so this really is a situation where you have someone from that community joining the Bat family. And I think that would alleviate some of the complaints that those people have in that sketch. So I think there's something here. And yes, Ryan Wilder is also a member of the LGBT community, but that really isn't front and center for her character in the first 2 episodes. They just kind of allude to it once or twice. But Kate Kane's romantic situation is still very much in the picture, even though she is not. It seems like almost every woman on this show is an LGBT character with a romantic connection or possible romantic connection to Kate or maybe to each other, which is totally cool, and everyone does a nice job, but it just gives the show a soap opera feel, which I think probably doesn't help with some comic book fans. But maybe it expands its audience in other ways. I'd be curious, if you do watch Batwoman, what do you like about the show? And there is stuff, like what appeals to it? Do you like that element? Do you like the soap opera aspects to it? Like all CW/DC shows, there is a huge supporting cast, perhaps too large a supporting cast. But to me, in these 2 episodes, the ones who stood out the most are Rachel Skarsten's Alice, who seems like she'd be right at home on Gotham. I thought she did a great job. She was a very good villain. I thought she chewed the scenery up just the right amount. And Nicole Kang is Kate Kane's stepsister, 2 sisters here. Obviously, if you watch the show and if you read the Batwoman comics, you know that Alice is Kate Kane's estranged sister. But Nicole Kang, as her stepsister and confidant, she does a great job. She also has a lot of warmth and kindness to her, which I think makes her a good fit with Ryan Wilder. And also, they have other similarities, which you'll discover, sad similarities. But I thought that gave the 2 characters a connection, and it made sense that Nicole would be Ryan's biggest supporter. I thought that, that friendship that's developing there very quickly was nice. I would say that Batwoman is like if Gotham were on Lifetime, which means it has elements of Gotham. So that's a good thing. I could feel that while I was watching it. And it also reminds me a bit of the Birds of Prey TV series from a while back. It has that quality to it too. I don't think that it's for me, to be honest with you, but I believe that a decent number of people will be very satisfied. I also would like to say that even though this is not a show for me, even as a DC fan, I will say that as a DC fan, I feel that there are characters here who deserve to live on beyond the show. And Ryan Wilder's already shown up in the Batgirl comic, but I would even consider giving her own comic. I like her a lot. I think this is a great character. And I think that there are some actors here who deserve to level up based on this opportunity, like Javicia Leslie. I really hope that this breakout leading role is just the start of a great run for her. She deserves it. And this really speaks to why you need to have diversity in the leading roles that are out there to give actors, different types of actors, the opportunity to step up like this and prove that they deserve it. She's great. So that's my review of the first 2 episodes of Batwoman Season 2. Give it a whirl. I think even as a DC fan, and if you're not even into this type of show, I think there's a new character that's come on the board here and who I do believe has a future in DC. So you might as well get to know them from the very beginning. I think watching the first 2 episodes, it was worth my time, and I believe it would be worth yours. So again, that's my review. Share your own thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.